And now we're famous for our balls.
Yeah. Hey, kristyglass here. You guys asked and they answered. Here they are. Introduce yourselves, please.
Hello, everybody. This is Arne, and I'm Carlos.
Love it. And we are sitting here in Webb's, I think it's called America's #1 or largest yarn store.
Yeah, I think it's called America's Yarn Store.
Yeah, America's Yarn Store. And you guys are all the way from
Norway,
which is super far.
Yeah.
And I just learned today from your lecture that you are Norwegian, like 17th generation.
Probably,
Like-
more maybe, very Norwegian.
Very Norwegian.
Like 900 years back.
900 years back. And you are not.
No, I'm actually half Swedish, half Spanish, but from Scandinavia, and we share the same language, Scandinavian. So it's not really a big change from Norway to Sweden.
So the language is Scandinavian. That's the language.
Well, Denmark speaks Danish, Norwegians speak Norwegian, and Swedish speak Swedish. Icelandic speak Icelandic,
Yeah.
but it's all the same language. Icelandic is the one that is the original language because they're in Iceland and they're isolated, and then our languages have evolved so that we can't understand Icelandic anymore, but we can understand Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian. It's not really like American English, British English, and Australian English, but there are similarities in the sense that the grammar is the same and we know each other's words.
So you could communicate from day one when you met. It was no big
Yeah.
deal.
I mean, I speak my language, he speaks his, and it's
And
fine.
you understand each other.
Yeah.
Actually, for some people it's harder to understand my dialect than Swedish.
Oh, interesting.
Because we have dialects in
Yeah,
Norway, which
yeah.
can be very hard.
When my family went to Iceland, I was proud/terrified. I mean, everywhere we went, they started speaking to us in Icelandic. My daughters are very blonde and fair, so I think they thought we were. But I was like, no, English, please. I don't have.
Well, you look Icelandic.
I have a lot of Danish roots actually. A lot of
Ah.
Danish. So that's, if I look Scandinavian, it's because of that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot I want to talk to you about. First of all, in some of the videos I've watched from you guys, because that's how I've gotten to know you, is on YouTube.
Oh, our YouTube channel, yeah.
Yeah, not even just your channel. Actually, you're all over the YouTube.
Okay.
Are
I
we?
watched several of your videos that were not in English. Also.
Oh, those videos were made for the National Museum.
Okay.
There was a big exhibit on our work when we had our 10-year anniversary at the museum in Oslo, the National Museum
And
for
those are
Art.
good.
Yeah, and they made 7 videos. They're actually, originally, they are part of the exhibit, so they are in different areas, and we talk about our work. And then apparently they've been uploaded on YouTube as well, probably by the museum.
Yeah, and some have subtitles and some don't. But I found them so visually informative that I didn't need to understand what we were
Okay,
talking
cool,
about,
cool.
That's
which
cool.
was really cool. But one thing I did, I think maybe the favorite video of mine was this Q&A. You've done a few Q&As, but there was this one where you had to give 3 words to
No,
describe
that's-
each other,
yeah.
and that's probably my favorite one. So we're not going to rehash that here. You should go. I'll put a link to it down below. But what I found so interesting after watching your lecture today is that you kept calling Carlos funny.
Yeah.
But you were the one that were kind of having all the jokes today. I mean, I thought you were also pretty funny.
Well, he's more fun.
But he's really funny.
So I just thought that was interesting.
Well,
so
that's because my English is so bad.
I thought your
can't-
English was
I
outstanding.
can't tell stories.
But you know, I know Arne very well, and for that particular video, they gave me the questions, the staff or the people that do the video,
And I didn't.
and I knew that if I didn't tell him in advance, it would be funny.
Yeah,
I didn't know anything.
funnier, right?
Funnier, yeah. If he would have been prepared, it would have been over very quickly.
It was so good. I loved it.
It's good. It's easy to set him up to be funny.
I love it. Okay, so one thing that I learned from the lecture, and actually I knew this before coming here, that I didn't find on YouTube, so I don't think it's out there, is that you live on a railroad station that you revived.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you talk about that a little bit? Because that's so interesting.
Yeah, we found this house, or actually I found it
Through a friend.
through a friend.
It's a beautiful Norwegian landscape on the mountains with. We have a beautiful climate in the winter with a lot of sunshine, and it's very white with all the snow, and it's great for skiing.
Yeah.
And also our house has the old railway tracks, but they're not in use anymore. So the community, the council, they drive the skiing tracks on the old railway. And then we have a lake on the opposite side, so we have a nice place for summer as well. And it's quite isolated, but it's not completely secluded. So we have the possibility to go down the mountain to buy food, and 2 hours to get to Oslo.
Yeah.
Sorry, to the airport.
Actually, to the airport. So we think we are kind of very low, like, what do you say, central?
Yeah, we're centralized, we
Yeah,
think.
so it's
And-
not as rural as maybe one would think.
No, no.
Well, the
some
mountain
people
itself,
it
the
is,
top of the
but-
mountain, yeah, and there's not many people living there, but a lot in the area. But a lot of people have cottages and winter homes there.
But you're mainstays. You're there all year round.
Yes.
hmm Now you said that there was nothing on your land. No
No, nothing.
birds. No insects. No.
It's just a platform.
Yeah, just like where people would board the train,
Yeah.
Yes.
right? So how did you go about? And how did you know? Well, first of all, how did you go about building the garden? And how did you know, or did you know, that would be a source of inspiration for you?
Oh, we didn't know when we started.
No, I mean it was just horrible because we saw the potential of the house, we saw the lake, we saw that this could be really good, but it was all about getting it in order. And we knew from the beginning it was going to be a huge project to tackle. And we tackled it as best we could, very randomly and kind of figuring it out as we went along. And the garden, we had two options. We could roll a lawn, basically, just roll out a lawn on the platform and be done with it, or we could create a garden, and we chose to create a garden. And when we started, we didn't know how much work that was going to be either. And it's also very difficult to see. With nature, you can't control it. So it took 5 or 6 years before things really started to grow. So in between time, we were just waiting for things to happen, and then we just kept building more and more and more.
But we like to create nice things around us. Like, it's good to be in a nice environment.
Yeah.
So
Did you know anything about gardening before you
I
started?
did, because I went to gardening school.
You did.
1 year.
Yeah.
I had no interest in gardening. I mean, I thought my parents did. My father did gardening at home, and I thought that I'd make him do it. But it's very fun. I mean, it's you see everything grow, and you have plans, and then things don't turn out the way you want.
I know you like the watering. He's like crazy with the watering.
Yeah.
The watering.
You know, that's one of the things that relaxes me the most in summer. We have pumps in the lake. You see, we could not have a garden like this without the lake. So we have pumps inside the lake, and then we pump out water to water the garden.
And they walk around with the hose.
Yeah, the main part of the entrance of our garden, I like doing that by hand. So I hold the hose, I put my thumb on and I just listen to the water and the smell. I love the smell.
Yes.
The smell's really nice.
When it hits the
That's nice.
dirt.
Yeah, and
And
that.
in the evening when you walk around with
In
the
the evening.
hose, with the sunset and
Yeah, and I just
the
do
water.
that, and
That's so beautiful. You
I
get
love
these
it.
rainbow colors around
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
and then I really relax. That's my.
Does he relax very often?
Not often. You're more stressed, aren't you?
Not stressed. Oh, now we start again. Yeah, the whole.
No, I want to know for real. Like, you're just more of.
We
the-
have a lot of energy, both of
I
us.
think I relax more. I relax with what I'm doing, while you are more stressed with the
relax
things you
into
do.
it.
I'm not
Yeah.
stressed, Arne. I'm just more. I have more energy.
You have more energy.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
a lot of things I want to do.
Urgency.
Not even
that
urgency,
fair?
because we don't. Whenever we work on projects, we don't have a deadline that stresses us. We know how to deliver on time. We've never had to stay up a night.
Right.
We don't do
No.
that. So we plan everything in our own way. I mean, it's not even that we plan it. So it's not that I'm stressed because I'm not going to make it on time. It's more I have so much I want to do in life.
And
that-
maybe that's the problem, because there's other things you could do
That I
Yeah.
want to
at
do.
the same
yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and then you get a little bit.
I think
Yeah.
I'm more restless
Restless.
than
Ooh, that's
stressed.
good, that's
I'm a
good.
restless
But
person.
like when we were in the fashion industry, we were always finished with our collections. Other people were maybe sewing buttons or making
no.
the hem on
But
the
you're
garment.
both good planners.
Oh,
You
yeah.
both have
Well,
that in common.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it just happens.
Yeah.
And when with the books especially, I mean, we are very well known at least in the publishing world, to deliver on time. I
On
mean,
time.
whenever we have a deadline for a book, everything comes in when it should.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think we're the only one.
You're the only ones. Yeah. Let's talk about how you became Arne and Carlos. I think you've been Arne and Carlos for 15 years, the company,
The company, 15 years.
and
yes.
but you're also life partners.
Yeah.
So that came before the business.
Yeah, a couple of years.
2 years.
We met in 1999. Officially founded Arne and Carlos in 2002, but we had already started the company before that. So
I see.
everything kind of happened at the same time.
Were you meeting in a work setting, or was it only a personal setting that you met?
Yeah, I got a job not related to
Yeah.
this, and we met in his school.
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
there for
We had common friends.
Yeah.
Right.
So because I was a teacher in Norway in the fashion school,
Mm-hmm.
and Carlos were in China.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I had come from China. I was going to
Came from
work, and
China,
then
China.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I had a friend who went to China, and then I also had students who studied in China before they came to Norway.
So how did you know that a business would work? Because sometimes when people are in a relationship, they don't want to be in business together. But you were mentioning the word lifestyle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well,
talk
actually,
about how that all worked.
we didn't know that it was going to work out.
No, we
What
didn't.
happened
So try and
was
see what happens.
what happened was Arne said he was fed up with working at the school of design, and he wanted to leave and do something else. And I just said, well, why don't you? And then he said, well, maybe I should. And I said, yeah, maybe you should. And then he got into this with one of his old classmates. She came up, we bought the house, and then she came up.
Mm.
And
And we-
she went to this how to start your own business course with Arne. I wasn't even involved in the beginning. And then I just started interfering. You know, I was telling them, why don't you do it this way? Why don't you try that? And then she just backed out, and then we started a business.
And that's actually very good because I came from the fashion world.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, what you say, trained in fashion drawing and
Yeah.
all the collection stuff and sewing and draping and pattern making.
And so was she.
And so she,
So
but,
they
but
couldn't-
then Carlos
Same
had
skill set.
same skills.
They couldn't move forward, and I said, this is not working.
And then Carlos
yeah,
came with like fresh
Ideas.
So what was your background if it wasn't in design?
No, I have a degree in political science, and but I have always been creative. So I don't know. We started the business. I took care of all the administration
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, and then started to collaborate by telling Arne, you know, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that?
It's like if we worked on the garment and I could do the draping on the dummy, and since I came from fashion school, I was always also very, how to say that, you kind of in this, you work in the frame. It's like you do
visual.
it from the book kind of.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then he could say, why don't you do it that way?
Why don't you move the seam?
Or why
there?
don't you move it the other way?
Yeah.
And then I hadn't thought about that because I was more stuck in the
Oh,
the
textbook
technical
designing.
thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then it was about getting us out of the textbook designing and into
That's-
something new.
I think that's a very good combination
Yeah.
because you look at things in a different way,
Mhm.
and we also we can edit each other's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a problem if you're alone because no one edit your work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I also experienced in the design world, that some students, they were very obsessed with their ideas, and it was
Mhm.
really hard to tell them that this is not good.
You used the phrase today, kill your darlings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Talk about kill your darlings.
And that's something you should do every now and then if you make a collection, even if it's in the knitting world or if it's in the design world, you should always kill some darlings
Yeah.
because not everything is not great.
It needs to be, yeah, that's one thing, and some people get
A
very
lot of
cocky.
people should actually look through what they're doing because
But another thing is if it's great but it's not cohesive.
Mm.
So we have that experience. We get a design brief for a company, a yarn company, and we do a collection, or even for Urban Outfitters we did it too. We were briefed what they wanted, and then of course we do a lot of different designs, and then we look at what we have, and then we see that we love this, but it doesn't fit with that. So we know that our heart is going to break because we're going to have to kill it.
Kill the darling!
Yeah.
Because
Kill
it-
the darling!
Exactly.
Good darlings.
And then we do it because it has to go, because you can't, and there are many reasons for it. So yeah, and you kind of have to, it's like you have to be ruthless. You have to just get rid of it, and then you can't even show it to your client
Right.
because
No, because it's not good enough.
they might want it, and then they might
Mhm.
make you do the whole thing again,
Yeah.
and you don't want that. So it's
Mhm.
all about figuring it out, making the choices for them.
Mhm.
And also when you work on the project, you can't just grab yarn and make it and you think it's fine. Especially if you do different designs, or like we do all these knitted figures. You have to make it over and over and over
Mhm.
until you're happy with it.
Mhm.
So it's not as easy as people think.
Yeah,
It
you
takes
don't-
a lot of
You
work.
don't just get yarn and create something.
Oh, there's
It's,
a new design. It's like
There's a lot of work in everything.
it doesn't happen like that
Yeah.
normally.
Trial and error. And also, you have to be open and humble enough to edit and take the criticism.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, of course.
That is so important. Not only it sounds like in design, but in a relationship also, just
Mm.
in real
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
And,
There's
you're
things-
and also you're not designing for yourself.
Mm.
When you do a collection, you should think about all the different people. Like there's a group of buyers, and, it's not, and like in fashion school, that's also another problem. Like some designers, they just do things they could wear.
Right.
They
They're
don't think
designing
it-
for themselves.
And that is a huge mistake.
Mhm.
They should do things they probably don't like themselves
Or some of them
personally.
anyway.
They could like some of it, but not.
It's like when we do the sock yarns, and we've done a lot of different color combinations, and even for us, there's colors that we love, that we would like, and there's colors that we know work and
They
we
work,
like,
but we probably don't like.
but we
them.
don't like them for ourselves, but that doesn't mean that you can't create them for
And they
other
can be
people.
bestsellers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not up to us to decide.
Yeah, interesting. So you talk about your obsessions, and I wrote a few down. Scanning your flowers at various stages of decay.
That's so cool.
Well, the whole scanning thing is fun. Have you ever tried it?
No.
Okay, so you
So
open.
that I asked.
Well, so you open your scanner and you turn the light off in the rooms. It has to be dark, and you never close the scanner. You
Right.
put the things on the scanner and you hit the scan, and then it becomes this very three-dimensional photograph. Try it.
Okay.
You'll
so
love
cool.
it.
We scan
My face.
Well,
insects.
yeah,
we done that.
We've
I've
done
always
that
seen
too.
like the butt Xerox. people
Yeah.
send. Okay, and so it becomes the photograph. It sounds like it's really unique.
It's very deep.
Image.
Yeah, it's a very deep image, and we just had this. Why don't we scan the flowers in the garden, and then we just scan them every day to see the change in the decay, but also the shapes and the colors
interesting.
and
To see how they change.
Yeah, my daughter had this piece of wood the other day, and we were doing a fire, and she stuck it in the fire and pulled it out, and suddenly it was purple. And I don't know what that matter was on the wood,
No?
but the fire had changed it to this purple. I thought it was fascinating. But after seeing your lecture, I just thought at your house every day, one of you has an idea, shares it with the other, and the other goes, yes!
Yes.
Like all day!
All day, every day.
Like your little boy is playing. Like that's...
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's one of my hidden talents. Is to support Arne in every single idea. Every single idea he
I
has is
support
good.
you, you know.
Yeah, but every single idea you have is good until it maybe fails. But I am not the judge of that, so I want to see it
But
first.
you don't know. You have to try and see.
So you're right. We push each other.
Are you more the idea guy? Or are you both
So.
equally
We're different.
We're different, yeah.
We
But
are-
I do more knit and crochet more than you.
Yeah, Arne, we're both idea people, but I am the one that can come up with an idea, but I may not actually do something about it. I might just talk about it for days and days. My idea.
Then I do.
And then Arne is the one that will come up with an idea, and he will not only do one, but he will do 50, so that I get overwhelmed when I see what he's done. So it's just different. We're both very creative, and we both have a lot of interesting ideas we come up with. It's just we tackle them differently. I like making these plans, so and then he goes, no, we just do it.
That sounds like my relationship with my husband. He'll say, "What's the budget for our trip?" And I'm like, "I'll tell you after I tell you all the things we're gonna do."
Oh, okay.
Oh, I never
So I'll say,
asked for those.
"We're going all these places, and then I'll tell you how much money I need." But he wants the budget first.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
When we
hard.
travel, I just follow.
Yeah.
You just follow.
I trust him.
Yeah.
That we're going to a nice place.
So 2 words you use to describe your aesthetic, I guess is the right word, is crazy and eccentric. So have you always been crazy and eccentric? Where is that born from? Is it something that's you two together? Is it also you separately?
I think that's more about what people think. People think we are a
Oh,
little bit
I
crazy.
see.
Because we're very normal.
So you wouldn't self-describe yourselves as that. That's what other
I
people
think
put upon you?
yeah, I would describe us as different. We think differently. We don't see the same things that other people see.
No, that's
It's,
true.
we try to see beyond. I mean, it's not so easy to explain it, but everything doesn't necessarily have to be beautiful to be interesting. So we always try to push ourselves and what we do further because we want to be different. I love eccentric people. We were talking about that in our lecture. That
But that's interesting.
we get very inspired by meetings with very eccentric people. But when we say eccentric, we mean more like they are themselves 100%, and that's what we love. We love to meet real people who dare to be different.
Themselves.
And a lot of the people that inspire us usually are older people who have lived a very interesting life, who are colorful, and they are themselves 100%, and we love it. And I think that
not necessarily colorful as a person, but when you get to know them.
yeah.
Like that's also some people when they come to our house and see how we live, that's when they think we are a little bit strange
Or different.
or different, but we don't feel
Mm.
different.
You feel authentic.
I don't feel anything.
Well, I don't know. I
I
mean,
know.
we do what
I
we
don't
do,
know.
and we like what we like, and we don't want to try
And we
to
don't
be.
care.
Yeah,
That's,
we don't.
that's
yeah.
the thing. We don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, for us, the words crazy and eccentric are good words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
are positive words. So,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody describes us as crazy and eccentric, I think it's better than being gray and boring.
Great.
So, in a sense, yes, thank you.
Mm.
I mean, I pulled that directly from you, so I think maybe you were talking about what other people put upon you. I wrote
I
that
think
down
so, yeah.
after I heard you say that. Let's talk about warmth and charm,
Mm-hmm.
cozy, and what was the Norwegian word?
Koselig.
Koselig.
Is that with a C?
Koselig.
Koselig.
Yeah, KOS.
Koselig.
Koselig.
Is it close to hygge? in
It's
Denmark?
exactly the same.
It's kind of
It's exactly the same as hygge, but it's multiplied by 1,000.
Really?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we have hygge or hyggelig, but we also have kos.
But the Danish have the same concept. It's just the Norwegians do it even worse.
Because I think you were talking about that when you mentioned that the second best-selling book was How to Pile
Pile
Yeah.
firewood.
Firewood,
Yeah.
and the first was, of course,
Our
The
book,
Christmas-
the
Christmas
Christmas balls.
balls.
Yeah. So the second the bestseller in 2010, our book, The Balls. The bestseller in 2011, someone else's book, How to Stack Firewood.
right?
There you go.
And so that is just indicative of the Norwegian way, right?
Yes, it's all about this word. It's a verb, it's an adjective, it can be mean so many things. The Danish, they laugh at us. They say that in Norway everything is koselig. So they're just like even more than the Danish one. But it's kind of like the whole sitting in front of the fireplace with a blanket around you and a big glass of wine and just reading a nice book
Yeah.
or knitting and looking out the window and seeing a beautiful garden. That's koselig. But
Mm.
then you can meet someone that you really, really, really like, and then you can say, "Oh my God,
Just-
she was so
yeah.
koselig."
Yeah, but like in Norway, we can walk in the woods and suddenly there's a thunderstorm or something, and then you can find this little safe place under a tree,
And that's also
and then you
koselig.
go, you like.
I love these examples.
So completely different
Like,
things,
oh,
but
this
the
is so
same
koselig.
word.
This is so kushly.
Even if it's
So it's a
terrible.
positive word.
Yeah, it's very positive.
Were you raised in Norway?
No, I was raised in Sweden, and then my other half life, I was raised in South America.
So are you glad that you landed in Norway? Like, is this your kushli? Is this your
Yeah, I like.
Nirvana?
I mean, I've lived in Norway. That Norway is the place I've lived the longest in my whole life.
Okay.
So I've lived there now for almost more than 20 years. And yeah, I mean, I feel very home there, and
Compared to a lot of other countries, I think we're lucky.
Yeah.
that
yeah,
we
we're
live in
very
Norway.
lucky. We have
Yeah.
a great everything. So
And
it's
When we
koselig.
travel, we really see
And
I'm
how good
sure.
it is.
yeah, we get to travel all over Norway, and it is really, I mean, the Atlantic coast of Norway is definitely one of the most beautiful coastlines in the whole world. It is, because it's so dramatic. You have these cliffs that just crash into the Atlantic Ocean, and then you have the Gulf Stream that brings it heat, and it makes it so pleasant in so many ways. And you can go all the way to the north from the south, from Stavanger, and just go all the way to the north,
Yeah,
and
from
then
Bergen. It's
yeah, Kirkenes in the border with Russia, and it's just the whole coast is dramatic and beautiful, and it changes, you know, as you cross the Arctic Circle into the go towards the North Pole. It's a beautiful, beautiful place.
I'm sorry you had to come here, but we're so glad you did.
Oh, we like it here.
We like
Um,
America too.
Let's talk about your hair.
Yeah.
Your hair game is strong. Both of you.
There's a difference though.
There is a difference.
Yes,
Let's talk about your hair.
I have very straight hair, so I have to put.
You spend more time on
Well, I have to put a comb through my hair and some,
A little gel.
gel.
Right,
And he
and I
just
don't
gets
care.
out of bed, goes in the shower, and the worst thing is, if he goes to bed with wet hair,
Then it's good.
his hair is amazing in the morning.
But I do have bad hair days.
But
also.
Arne, if I go to bed with wet hair, I have a mushroom cap when I wake up because it all, stands up like this.
Is this, your look hasn't changed, but yours has. Is this your look, or are you always going to be changing it?
No,
No,
his hairdresser likes to.
My
Yes,
my
yes,
hairdresser
yes.
is a very good friend, and he's a very good
He's
hairdresser.
also mine, but he doesn't cut that much.
Yeah, that's true. No, he's done it like this for me for about 3 or 4 years, and I like it now.
I like this.
So I'm keeping this. This is gonna be, people who have a look that they freeze in time.
Yep.
We have a friend that has the whole Elizabeth Taylor look from Cleopatra.
She froze in the 60s.
She froze in the 60s, and she remains there, and I want to do that too now.
Actually, she changed a little bit a few years ago. She
Yeah, but it's still-
added a grey
Yeah.
stripe.
But it's still the Buffon, and
Yeah.
I don't want
The
that, but
Buffon.
I want
I
to
like
keep
this. I think this is a good one. You like this one?
I think it's nice, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're both
Great hair.
lucky because you guys both have a lot of hair.
And still we
Yeah.
have hair.
I mean, I'm just
Thank God.
assuming since you both have gray hair, I'm assuming you're a little older than me. I mean, my gray hair is starting to come in.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm letting it come
So
in.
that's
But gray is
stylish.
nice.
Gray's so nice.
Yeah.
Your
I
gray
want
hair's so
all
nice.
gray. I just have white hair, and that's
I
fine.
love it. Why is it Arne and Carlos, not the other way around?
Because it sounds better.
Because A is before C in the alphabet.
I thought that was the answer.
Yeah, we wanted to be fair, I mean, who's more important? We're both important to each other, so we decided that we should let the alphabet decide, and then also because Arne Carlos sounds better than Carlos and Arne, but privately we are Carlos and Arne.
Yeah, all our friends, if they talk about us, they said Carlos and Arne, and that's because he is more social than me.
But not only that, there's a divide between the brand and the people. So
like
we
that.
are Arne and Carlos, but we are also Carlos and Arne when we're not on. So, and then there's this whole issue with sitting on the driver's seat and sitting in the passenger seat. I don't have a driver's license.
Oh, I'm shocked.
So Arne drives, and we always sit like this, and that creates problems when we take portraits, because I'm used to just sitting down here, and Arne is used to sitting there. But you imagine then when they put our names over our heads, and then
Yes.
Arne ends up over my head.
That is a problem.
Yeah, and it has been a confusion for many people for a long time.
I love that I asked that. Talk about Dolly Parton.
Oh, she's great. We love
Why? I
Dolly
love
Parton.
her.
We love
Yeah.
her.
Why? She's so
She
amazing.
is
'Cause she's so real.
So real.
I mean-
she's fake but
She's-
real. And that's the good thing.
But
She's real about her fakeness.
Yeah.
well, but her
I like
outside is not. I mean, she says it herself. Don't judge a book by its cover. And inside, she's a really nice person,
Yeah.
and she's really smart, and she's talented, and she's a genius, and she's real. And then outside, she can afford a little dip tuck.
Yeah, but
Uh,
she's real about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
It's worse
straightforward about it.
when people
And
come
we love it
with
that she-
their whole face is blown up and they pretend like born that way.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if you see another one, they look like they're from the same family or
Right.
at least from the same doctor.
Right.
And one of the things that she can teach
That is so
everybody that I love about her is that she's so real about where she came from. And it's
Yeah.
so important. People should never, ever
Pretend.
forget where they came from. And what you experienced in your life, that is what makes you the amazing human being you are when you're older, and you should be proud. You should always be proud of where you came from. I'm very proud of my roots. You're very proud of your roots. And we use this in our work as well. I mean, everything that we do is all about where we came from. And it's the only way to do it, really.
That's what we
So
like
that is
about her.
really, that's what I love about her. the
I love
most.
her.
Yeah.
And I love her voice.
Yeah.
I love her songs. I was totally inspired today by I'm in a tired place in my life right now. I'm in my late 30s. I have 3 kids, a teenager. Like, I'm just a little tired. It's just kind of
yeah.
a rough spot
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah, you have to do a lot of things, right?
It just feels like a lot, and a lot of stuff that's not for myself and maybe not for a business, although I really enjoy this part of my life, so thank you again for saying yes. But I really was inspired by your energy and your desire to keep learning and growing and changing. And so how did you become this way? Like, what can you tell us so that we want to be like you? Because I just want to be like that.
Well, you know, life is all about trying and failing. And if you don't learn from your errors, then what are you doing? You need to, we have had a long career now. We've been in the creative field, supporting ourselves, working 24/7 for 15 years in different fields. And we've had a lot of success, but we've also had a lot of failure. And what is important is that, you know, if you fail at something, you need to get up and you just need to do it again and do it better, and you need to learn from your mistakes, and then you grow as a person. So we consider failure one of our biggest strengths. And
You learn a lot.
you learn a lot from it, and you learn how to turn the failure, or in this case, if we're talking about a design that doesn't work out as we see it, how to find something else in it that will be interesting, or how to look for it, you know, and how to not be discouraged.
Or like when we decided to stop in the fashion world, because we had kind of a crisis when we decided to stop, because everybody knew who we were in Norway in the fashion world, and we felt like if we quit now, it's kind of real failures or something.
Oh, I see.
So that you have to be a little bit tough on yourself when you
Mhm.
do these decisions. But then again, if you don't do it, you
You can
can't
never
go
grow.
around your whole life and say, I wish I did.
Regrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people going around and they're saying, I wish I had done this or that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we will have that problem, because if we want to try something, we just do it.
Yeah, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, you try again in another way.
And that
So
makes your life
embrace,
more interesting.
yeah, you embrace failures, embrace your mistakes, and if you're crafty and you're doing something, one of the things that we've learned is that you can't be too hard on yourself, because in the end of the day, it's just a knitting project, or it's just a crochet project. It's not the end of the world. People are too hard on themselves, and we try to not be too hard on ourselves. I mean, we make mistakes too,
Yeah,
and sometimes things don't come out as they should. Sometimes they're better, sometimes they're not. Just you have to see that and put it all in proportion, or you put it all in a context.
Mm-hmm.
And we
And-
don't know if this is what we will do in a few years either.
Right.
Because maybe we get tired of it. Maybe we want to do something else.
Mhm.
Maybe we will do gardening full time.
Well, I'm glad you
Or-
said that, because I was just going to say, you have this lifestyle, and you even say on your YouTube channel, it's a lifestyle channel. So you talk about
Mhm.
cooking, gardening,
Mhm.
knitting, creating. What are you, like, what pulls most of your focus right now? I mean, I'm a knitter, so I know you're famous to me as
Mm.
knitting celebrities. Is that the most well-known you are right now, or are there other areas? I mean,
Yeah, I
you said
think-
you're well-known in Norway, so,
Well, right now, yeah, the
Right now,
knitting, or the books anyway.
because that's kind of the drive.
Yeah, but for us, they're not just knitting books. That's the whole thing.
Right.
It's our creative art project. We are creative directors of the Arne and Carlos universe, and we try to inspire people, and we can inspire people in so many different ways, not only with the knitting, and that's kind of what drives us, I
Mhm.
think, is the idea that we can try out different things, or do the things we love, and then show people how we do them. Like Arne has this huge project now, and we've done a few tutorials on YouTube, or videos anyway, about his dollhouse
I think
craze.
we did one, maybe.
Two?
Or two? I don't know.
And you're
Yeah.
crazy about those
I
dollhouses.
love the dollhouse.
Yeah.
Not knitted.
No, yeah, you build them
The
with
little-
wood.
Build
yeah,
them.
nice.
And then you put your little miniature furniture in it, and your curtains and everything, and it's like an aquarium.
I
Uh-huh.
love it. I think that's so nice with
It's
dollhouses.
so nice.
It's
And then he
like
goes
a
to-
fantasy world.
Yeah, and then he goes
I
to
like
the
it.
flea markets to look for furniture and all kinds of things for
I'm
the.
too old
yeah.
for dollhouse.
Well, do you have any
No.
children in your lives?
No,
Like,
yeah, we have nephews and
and
nieces.
do they just must think you're the coolest uncles ever?
Of course.
Because you'll play
We're too.
Oh, yeah.
and make them cookies.
Too cool for school.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Even
Well, now we're that old that we have now. What's the step over?
Great niece, great
Great.
nephews.
I guess they're great.
You're the
now.
great uncles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're so cool.
You know, it skips, right? With uncles, you become a great uncle before grandparents become great grandparents. Did you notice that?
No?
Yeah, you're right.
Huh?
You're
what's
right.
that about?
Older siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you have one dog,
Yeah.
One dog.
and are you going to get more animals?
When we stop traveling,
Yeah, we will have.
yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but there is a video of from 2010. It was the first video made on us to promote our first book in Norway. Have you seen it with all the chicken? Okay, so there's a video with us in our old house. So it's the same house, but it was while we were renovating the front, so it looks horrible. And then we've got chicken in that video, and we used to have like 10 or 15, and we loved them. They were our pets together with the dog.
There's so many
different
cool
breeds, and we had them. I mean, we got them for the eggs because we thought that would be fun. But then we have this whole. It's also like an aquarium. You go into the hen house and you look at them interact, and if we didn't feed them rice for a few days, they got angry with us or like upset.
Yeah.
So they'd line up in front of the door when we opened the door, waiting for their rice. And they were lovely, and we had to give them up because of the success we got with the Christmas book. Before that, we weren't traveling like we are now.
If we stop travel.
Yeah, we have a dream. We want to cut down on the traveling and get chicken again.
Yeah.
Peacocks.
Peacocks.
Yeah, maybe a goat
Oh,
in the
but
garden.
they're
A goat.
noisy.
Oh, they're so beautiful.
Would you ever get a sheep so they could cheer for the wool or no?
No.
No.
Your
Just for
brother,
decoration.
yeah, Arne originally comes from a very small farm, and his nephew has sheep now.
You know
The Viking, the old ones. They're really
Like
nice.
heritage breeds that we can't get here anymore.
Yeah,
The Christmas bauble. You were calling them Christmas baubles.
that's what we thought the name was.
Right. So was that your first book?
Yeah.
Okay, so talk about how that switched to a different title because that story was just too funny. And
Well, we did the book in Norway in 2010. It was our first book, and for people that don't know, all our books are originally written in Norwegian. We belong to a very big publishing house in Norway, and then our publisher in Norway, they have an agency within the publishing house. So we give them the right to sell our rights to publishers abroad. So actually, the main language is Norwegian. Then Dutch will publish it in Dutch, German in German, and so on. And it's not really up to us. It's up to the publisher. They get the translator. They get all, they do all that. So once we do the Norwegian version, we're done. And so the first country to buy the rights for our Christmas ball book was the United States, and that happened before the book came out in Norwegian. So we were very excited about this, and we didn't really know how it worked. And then our publisher or our agent told us that when a publisher buys the rights, everything inside the book has to be exactly the way you did it, because we are the creative directors. But the only thing they do is they change the text. So they just click a button and the translation will go from Norwegian to English, and then they print the book. So that's what happens. But then the agency told us that the only thing that they have the right to change is the cover, because the cover should reflect that country's culture,
Right.
marketing, for marketing purposes, to sell more books and everything. So we can't object on the cover, but if they would have changed anything inside, yeah. So we were very curious about the American version. What are they going to do different? What are they going to do to the cover?
So you got a shock when you opened.
Yeah, because we didn't think.
It's like, what's this?
Yeah, we were shocked. We didn't think that we were going to be on the cover of the American version. We knew that when we took that picture for the Norwegian version, we knew that the Norwegian publisher was going to force that through, because we were known in Norway then, so that was easy. But we thought in America at the time we were virtually unknown, so maybe they put Christmas balls on the cover of the book.
Yeah.
So when we got the book, I mean, the first thing I see when I open it, the file, is a picture of us there. And like, wow, they actually decided to use the photo of us. And then I saw the word balls, and then I understood what they were gonna do. So we thought it was Christmas baubles, but they translated it to Christmas balls, and now we're famous for our balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you read that, like, if you're as a Norwegian and you read Christmas balls, you think about something totally.
I think Americans also do.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, I think I'm gonna put with your permission, I'm just gonna put the cover up
Sure,
so
sure,
people
go
can
ahead.
see it on right here. And the way they put balls
Yeah.
Yes.
as a freestanding word, also. I mean, if they had said Christmas balls, it would have been a different effect.
Yeah.
But balls is just, pardon the pun, hanging out there.
Yeah, it's a good word. It's a
It's
good
just
word.
hanging out
Yeah.
there, and your facial expression is a little
Yeah.
Yeah.
hard to read in that
Yeah.
photo. It's a little bit like we're like, what do you do in America? That's
Well-
kind of, right? What your page
The
is-
original attitude we wanted for the photo was we wanted something very bizarre. We wanted us to look like these two very dry Norwegian people. I mean, it's the Norwegian cover too,
Mhm.
but we wanted it to look very dry and very stiff and
Mhm.
very Scandinavian kind of cold. But then we wanted the kitchen. It's in the kitchen, so we
Mhm.
wanted it still warm. So it's kind of like these two men in
And
a
the-
very bizarre kind of Scandi movie that you don't really know what's going on,
Yeah.
and they're just sitting there with this really dry expression. So that's the look
Yeah,
for
there
them.
weren't any men knitting in Norway
Yeah.
either.
Oh.
It's like there weren't many men who were known for their knitting.
Yeah. Are there any? I mean, have some popped up besides y'all?
I'm sure.
Not in
I
Norway.
haven't heard. I can't think of
In
any.
Norway?
I think there's a man who made a book about hats, and then you have a man in Denmark.
Well, I'm sure there's a few.
There are more now.
One thing that I thought was really great in the lecture was
Oh,
the sock yarn. Yeah, it's based on paintings,
Mhm.
and this one was called Twilight.
Star Night.
Star Night.
Yes.
And so that's but it was based. This isn't the Scream one, is it?
No.
Okay, so what painting was this one based on?
On a painting called Star Night. It's a painting
what-
of the forest. It's from by Edvard Munch.
Who's a famous Norwegian?
Yeah, our super famous Norwegian
Norwegian
painter.
Super famous.
Yeah. So, and this one is the Star
he's
Night.
dead.
Yeah, he's
Long
dead.
time.
Yeah, he's rest in peace. Monk.
Rest in peace.
So it's a forest, and then you have the sky, and it's all in those kinds of colors.
Yeah, and this is not just like self-striping yarn. This is self-Scandinavian patterning yarn.
Yeah, yeah,
Yarn.
yeah.
That's the really
That's cool.
technical term for it. So, and the little pictures on there. So you guys have to get some of this. And then one thing that I actually had my eye on before I even got here was these patterns.
Oh, yeah,
Did
yeah.
you do all of this? Did you do this whole book?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Merino Moments collection.
But
Yeah.
we didn't art direct it.
No,
no.
but you did the pattern.
We did the patterns, and
We
we
did
were
drawing and
at
they did the
the
pattern.
photo shoot. Of course, we were
We
there.
just did the design, and
Yeah.
they
Because when we work with a client like that, they need to do it their way, and they need to do it to fit their brand, obviously.
Mhm.
So
But what I liked about what you said about it is that when you're doing designs, you think of it as a collection. So I think most knitting designers that I'm aware of, they're kind of just doing one-offs, like
Yeah.
one sweater, one whatever. And sometimes you can tell when it's a certain designers because they have a certain aesthetic.
Mm.
But I love that you approach this as a collection. So
Mhm.
you think, I'm going to do this complicated sweater, but I know there's going to be someone else who wants to do something a little more
Yeah.
simple with the same motif. Do you want to talk about that a lot? I just love that.
yeah, I mean, it's just
I think
to.
that's unique.
It's just because when you have a good idea, it's actually you shouldn't let it go. I mean, we love doing. Now that we do this, we can do more one-offs.
Mhm.
While we were working in the fashion industry and we were creating a knitwear line, there were so many things we had to think about in terms of costs. So, if you need to use a very limited palette, and every sweater pattern that you make is very expensive to produce because they have to be programmed in the machines.
Mhm.
And you kind of take that knowledge with you so that you can make something that is cohesive. We do want to do things that are one-offs, but we feel like we need to put them in the right setting.
Mhm.
And so we are going to be doing, yeah, that's cool. We're going to be doing, I don't know if we should say this, but I don't care, so I'm going to say it. Yeah, we've just been working with something for Rowan,
Uh-huh.
the yarn brand, and we've done a collection for them now. And again, they are all one-offs, but they all fit, so that
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
all in
because
the same.
if you do a collection, you don't want your collection to look like a flea market.
Exactly.
Or if you
yeah.
do
Nice.
a book with knitting pattern, it shouldn't look like it came from a flea market.
Right,
So
right,
there should be
So
kind
there should
of
be
a.
something that joins these things together to
Mhm.
make it as a collection.
Mhm.
And then you
And-
need to know, because we knew that the men's sweater in that magazine, we knew that it would be something that people might not be able to do because it
Mhm.
is very complex. And then
Mhm.
we knew that this would be very complex, and
Mhm.
then we knew that we should do a scarf as well.
Yeah.
To keep it a little bit more simple, because the scarf is just on the round, and then and then you iron it. And also design-wise, trying to find solutions to make it a little bit easier, because Fair Isle is already something people are afraid of.
Yeah.
So the whole...
Don't be afraid, it's fun!
It's fun, yeah. But the scarf thing is, you know, like you knit a scarf, and then what are you going to do on the back?
Right.
You know, and in this case, you're knitting it on the round, you're ironing it, and then you're sewing it, and then you don't have the problem.
I love that. Okay, and this is your latest.
In America, it's our latest.
In America! And I love that you're still on the cover in bird
Yeah.
form.
So now you need to do our favorite thing.
Which is?
Open the first page and then pull out the twos. Pull out.
What?
Yeah, you have to pull out. Look, and then I'll help you pull out the others.
Stop!
This is inspired of what they had in schools.
It's a field guide, so it has to have all the...
Look, there's my bird!
That's your
That's
bird.
mine! I just found her immediately. She has
The-
pink sequins.
The I do.
And her! The beaded crown.
Yep.
All of them.
So that's...
Field guide!
Yeah.
You guys are
For bird
amazing.
That was so much fun to do.
I bet this was so much fun. Oh, look at these ones! Oh my gosh! Stop!
But we like the
These-
photo shoots are half.
these-
It's like it's.
This photo shoot was amazing.
We love to do the photo shoot.
These books.
But this one was a really good shoot because the projects are so small.
Yeah.
And it's all shot in our house, but we just looked for areas. Half of the book is very light, and then the other half is very dark.
Yeah.
There's a little, the dark pages are very much like Dutch paintings, like Vermeer, and very dark and rich with a lot of gold.
Yes.
And then you have the ones, like these.
Yeah. It's like a painting.
And then you have the very light pages, which are
Like the
kind
snowy.
of, the snowy, or this one here in the beginning with the ice, with the
yes. The glass.
Mm.
Yeah.
What are those called?
Domes.
Domey thingies.
But it's so fun when we
Oh.
do the picture. We look for new angles in the
Yeah.
house or in the garden, and then you can pull
Yeah.
out all the stuff that we collect.
I
Our
want to
knitted
take a field trip to your house.
Yeah, you should do.
And our knitted doll book, for example, that was all shot in one corner, the same
Just one
corner,
corner.
and we just put different wallpaper up, and we just built the different settings.
We like that. That's
So
fun.
it's just fun.
I'm just glad you're making books because I adore Ravelry and I love being able to instantly download something. But a book,
Yeah.
it can really feed
Yeah.
what we're looking for when we want to create. So thank you for still making paper books.
Yeah, we like.
We'll be doing that as long as we can, and we try to resist.
The digital.
Yeah.
At least, for the books. Yeah, you put a lot of work in these
Yeah.
books. They should be bound.
Yeah.
And,
But I think we're privileged who can make these books because now you can do your own books on Amazon.
Yeah.
But to make these books, you have to have a publisher. You have to be edited. There's
you need a whole team.
It's more
Yeah.
work or
Yeah.
more. It's like a prestige thing.
Yeah.
So we're glad we do books.
Yeah.
Arne and Carlos, thank you so much for taking the time to be on Kristyglass Knits. I'm not
Thank
a famous
you.
Norwegian, but that just shows so much that they were willing to sit down with me today.
Oh,
But
come
now
on.
you're a famous Danish.
Yeah, I'm a famous Dane.
A
Yes.
Finnish Dane.
I'm gonna
She's
start.
Danish.
I don't even know one Danish word.
But here,
No.
Huga.
you know one.
I knew the one word. So, thank you so much for taking this time, and we'll see you next time.
Our
Kristyglass.
pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.